About 5 months ago, I tried out a foldable fat tire bike from Heybike. The Heybike Mars 2.0 arrived in a bright orange color, and it served to be a powerful and capable, smaller fat tire e-bike. For the past couple of weeks, I've been riding another foldable fat tire e-bike from Heybike, and it's fit for a slightly different customer than the Heybike Mars 2.0. Hello everybody, this is Matthew Miller, otherwise known as Palm Solo, and thanks for visiting the Mobile with Matt YouTube channel. Please subscribe, comment, and share my content to others as a way to support this channel and see more reviews coming to you here on YouTube. The Heybike Mars 2.0 is a fat tire e-bike with 20-inch by 4-inch tires, so it's fairly easy to fold up and put in your trunk to take along to ride in other locations. As you can see in front of me here, Heybike sent along the Horizon. And the Horizon has 24-inch by 4-inch fat tires, and that really changes the look and the feel of the bike, making it a beast of a bike, best fit for larger riders and a very specialized routes. Let's start off by unboxing and assembling the bike before I share my experiences riding it. Given the size of the bike, I was surprised how short it was. But as you can see, all of the accessories, the manuals, and everything come fully wrapped. It took me a while to take off all of the foam, all of the zip ties, and clear everything out of the way so that I could start assembling the bike. And the first step on this one is to assemble the handlebars and put them all together. It was a little bit complicated by having to lower the handlebar and tighten that first bolt, but then I moved on to the front wheel, which was easy to put on, no problem at all. Then after that front wheel, of course, is the front fender piece, which attaches to the front forks in 3 locations, and that was pretty easy. Then I realized I had to install the front headlight as well onto that front fork, so I went back, grabbed the headlight, and installed that. Next, of course, was the seat, which is easy to slide in, and then the back rack. Now, I put this on here once, as you can see in the unboxing. I did have to go back and readjust it because some of the alignment wasn't what I wanted it to be. And then, of course, the last thing is the pedals. As you saw in the unboxing, as you can see in front of me, Heybike sent along the cool cyan and pearl 2-color bike, where the colors transition at the center where it folds in half. It is also available in a cool sunset orange with ombre colors, a black and blue, and a gradient cynical black. So it is clearly an attractive bike with some character. The Heybike Horizon is available with one size, with a frame designed for riders from 5'5" to 6'3". My wife is 5'4", and while she could ride the bike and she enjoyed the comfort of the big tires, it was clearly a bit large and unwieldy for her to control safely, so it's really not fit for a smaller rider. Let's begin first with some key specifications of the Heybike Horizon. It's got that typical 6061 aluminum alloy frame construction. It is quite heavy at 79.4 pounds, but it does have a capacity of 330 pounds. Has that fairly typical 750 watt rear hub motor with a 1200 watts of peak power and 80 Newton meters of torque, which I'll talk about in my riding experiences. The battery is removable. It's a 48 volt, 14.4 amp hour, 692 watt hour battery. And the whole bike is UL 2849 certified for electrical safety systems, with that UL certification and sticker right there on the center of the bike. Has 5 levels of pedal assist and a right thumb throttle that's close to that 7-speed Shimano shifter. Now this bike can be propelled up to 28 miles per hour with pedal assist and maybe 28 miles per hour on throttle. My experiences, I was able to get with my size and weight up to 24 miles per hour. The bike has an advertised range of up to 55 miles, but that is for a pedal assist and a very specific rider in specific conditions. My mileage is much less than that, and we'll talk about that in my experiences. The bike does have dual piston hydraulic disc brakes with 180 millimeter rotors, and in my experiences, it stops very fast and safely. Has hydraulic front forks with 80 millimeters of travel. And then it has this Horst link rear suspension, as you can see right here, with the pivot points on 2 parts of the frame. I mentioned earlier it has those 24-inch by 4-inch fat tires. Those are e-bike puncture resistant tires, and it has that folding design with the handlebars folding down, the pedals folding up, and the frame folding in half. There are front and rear lights, with the rear lights attached to the included rack, and on the front and the rear there are turn signal indicators with flashing brake lights on the rear when you pull the brakes. Has a vibrant center mounted color LCD display, And there's also a very functional Heybike smartphone application. Looking over at the controller, we see there are two controllers on the left side of the handlebars. These are fairly flat handlebars, not very wide, not super ergonomic or comfortable, although the hand grips are that leather pleather type material with and some ergonomics for your palm rest. Now those two controllers, there's an outside one over on the far left side that has a toggle button for headlights on and off. It has a side-to-side switch for the turn signal indicators, and then a bottom button for the horn. If we move to the right just a little bit, next to that controller is another controller. On the bottom of that is a button that you push and hold to turn on the bike or off the bike. Then there's the plus and minus for increasing or decreasing the pedal assist levels. And then we have two buttons, small long buttons on the inboard side, the right side, with the top one switching between the different metrics that appear on the display, odometer, power, things like that. And the bottom one toggles the display brightness up and down. So if you're at nighttime and you want a dimmer display, you push that bottom button and it will reduce the brightness on the display. If you do end up purchasing the Heybike Horizon, I highly recommend that you download and install the Heybike smartphone application. Once you do that, you simply start up that smartphone application, turn on the bike, and it should find and connect to the bike. Now, the connection is really nice because that supports fully customizing the pedal assist levels. So you can have pedal assist levels 0 to 3, 1 to 3, 0 to 5, 1 to 5, whatever you want for your pedal assist levels, you can customize that. And then within each of those levels, you can use a slider to indicate the top speed that you want the support for at those different pedal assist levels. That will also translate to what the throttle limits are. So you can have the throttle speed limiter, and that will reflect what your pedal assist level is. I've mentioned this in many other e-bike reviews that have this functionality. I personally like having the throttle tied to the pedal assist level. On bikes that do not have that ability, when you press the throttle down, you simply get full throttle all the time. And I prefer to have that linked to the pedal assist level, so I have a little bit more control over that throttle. The application on your smartphone also supports naming the bike, updating the firmware, viewing the odometer and the battery status, and you can even use it for tracking your ride or finding local bike shops that support Heybike models. So diving into a few of my experiences riding this bike, I first, of course, took it up the hills around here, and the hills that I live on have 13 to 15%, sometimes a little bit more incline, and this has an 80 Newton meters of torque and that big 750 watt motor. I was able to actually get on those hills, push down the right thumb throttle, and maintain 9 to 10 miles per hour. Most of the time. One hill was really steep. It dropped to 5, but it never stopped. So it was able to go up those hills, and then if I wanted to, I could just drop down the gear and get pedal assist on level 5 and make it up those hills no problem. So continuing on with the throttle discussion, as I mentioned earlier, you can fully customize the throttle top speed for the different levels of pedal assist. Technically, it's beyond class 3 when you go beyond 20 miles per hour, but I'll let you decide when and where you want to do that. So when I took the bike out on a very flat area and rode it for a few miles, I wanted to test what the throttle would do. And at level 0, because I have it set to no throttle at all on level 0, I had no speed with the throttle. On level 1, it was 9 miles per hour. Level 2 was 12 miles per hour. Level 3 was 18 miles per hour. Level 4 was 21 miles per hour, and level 5 was 24 miles per hour. And as I mentioned, in that Heybike smartphone application, you can customize those throttle speeds. And when you customize those throttle speeds, I was actually seeing just about exactly what speed limit I put on there, despite my 240 pounds and my 6-foot height. However, looking at the distance, right? So Heybike advertises up to 55 miles of range, but that's really with a pedal assist and probably on a low pedal assist with a very light rider. When I was in throttle only mode, I measured about 25-mile range, and that really does depend on what level of throttle you have it at. I'm pretty comfortable riding at throttle level 2 or 3, so I didn't push it to 4 or 5 except for testing what the maximum speed was. And most of the time, as I discuss with all of my e-bikes, I spend most of my time in pedal assist mode. I don't usually ride a bike just in the throttle mode unless it's one of those moped style bikes. So on a bike like this, I spend most of my time in pedal assist, and usually in pedal assist levels 2 and 3. And with that, I was seeing a range closer to 35 to 40 miles, so not quite 55 miles, but that was still pretty extensive. I experienced closer to 35, 40 miles in range, but I caution you that my weight and my size for wind resistance does reduce that range, so maybe you'll get closer to what Heybike advertises, but that's usually for a fairly light rider on flat conditions. So as you can see in front of me, the Heybike Horizon is a large bike, but if your battery dies, you can still make it to your destination. And while it is a fat tire foldable bike, the wheels and tires are much larger than a typical 20-inch fat tire bike, so I actually enjoyed riding it without power. However, it is about an 80-pound bike, and that's a lot of weight with friction on those tires, so it is difficult to overcome, and I wouldn't want to capture any hills, but with that Shimano 7-speed transmission and some effort, you're able to certainly ride it without any battery power. But I wouldn't recommend that unless you're looking for some heavy exercise. Looking at some of the pros and cons of the Heybike Horizon, it is a very comfortable bike to ride, and it's fairly quiet as well. These big fat tires give you a level of safety when you're riding, and that suspension sure makes for a comfortable ride. The seat itself is pretty comfortable, but with that rear suspension and that front suspension, the ride is comfortable for hours of riding. I'm not really sure how necessary that rear suspension is, unless you're going up and down on rough terrain, but it does move a little bit more than some of the other bikes I've tested with those rear suspension shocks. The handlebars fold down, the pedals fold up easily, so it's nice and easy to store. It does have the lovely color options. This cyan and pearl one is pretty unique, and then some of the other color options that are on the Heybike website are great. And the build quality in typical Heybike fashion is quite good. Many of these fat tire folding e-bikes have the 20-inch tires, while the non-folding ones typically have those larger 26-inch tires. So this is kind of a compromise between a folding bike, a fat tire bike. That 24-inch tire is nice for supporting comfortable rides, and it still folds up for storage. A couple of areas for improvement. So I mentioned earlier, it does have a turn signal indicator switch over on the left controller, which is great. There actually is a turn signal indicator on the front headlight and on the rear tail light. The one thing is, there's no indication on the display that the turn signal is on. So once you turn it on, unless you're paying attention to it and remember that you turned it on, you wouldn't know to turn it off. So I'd like some indication on the display, or maybe that ability for the turn signal to turn off automatically after a certain period of time. The rear rack is attached by 4 screws and it's not integrated into the frame. So there is some limited capacity on that rear rack. Now, I put it in there with the 4 bolts. Some of those bolts didn't line up perfectly. There was a little bit of stripping almost on one of the bolts, and the alignment wasn't perfect. So it was a bit of a challenge to get that rack on there. Once it's on there, it's great, but I would like to have seen that integrated with the bike itself. Now, if you're gonna go on long rides with this bike, or maybe you're going up in the mountains for riding, you may want some water. Unfortunately, there are no mounting points on the bike for water or a lock, so you have to mount that to the back rack or something. The Heybike Horizon is available now for $1,499, which I believe is about $500 off the original price, and honestly, it's about $500 less than many of the fat tire bike competition. There are a few compromises that it has made to get that price down, including using a cadence sensor rather than a torque sensor, for example, maybe not having all of the functions that you might expect. That $1,499 price is actually fairly reasonable given the size, the features, and the performance. This is the 3rd Heybike model that I've tested, and it's the one that I'm a bit confused about when it comes to the perfect customer. It's a large fat tire bike, and I'm not convinced there's much need for the center folding frame on such a large bike. I personally find it best to fold down the handlebars, fold up the pedals, and store it that way rather than folding it completely. Folding it completely with that 80-pound weight doesn't make it that much easier to put in the back of a trunk, or may not even fit in a trunk, or store it with you, or take it up and down stairs or anything like that. So I'm not quite sold on the need for a center folding mechanism on this bike, but it is a little bit more compact than some of the bigger fat tire 26-inch bikes that I have. If you're looking for a big fat tire e-bike to help you take on forest service roads or mountain trails, then this may be a good option. It's also a comfortable commuter bike with those fat tires providing a smooth ride, but on my train, I'm actually not allowed to take a 4-inch fat tire bike, so I can't take it on the train, and it would be really hard to haul up the bike at 80 pounds up and down the stairs. So a bus or train may not be the best, but if you're in the city and you want a comfortable, larger commuter with an attractive color that's going to get the attention of people and drivers so they don't run into you with the lights, that's great. The The Heybike app provides a solid level of customization. The bike is powerful, it is well built, and it is reasonably priced for the feature set and the bike style. Thanks to Heybike for sending along the Horizon to test out, and thank you, viewers, for watching. Please subscribe and share, interact with me here, and stay tuned for more coverage of e-bikes, wearables, and other mobile technology. And may the mobile force be with you.